What was Baghdad like?
Baghdad, I like every place I've ever been. I'm just easily charmed. I'm very shallow. And I like almost all people I've ever met. I have a really easy time liking people and things. So like after this interview, I'll be like, those are great guys.
I hope so.
I have no idea if you really are, but I will tell everyone that you are. But Baghdad is one of the only places I've ever been where the longer I spent there, I was like, this place kind of does suck.
It's a dump, eh?
It's just a dump.
Yeah.
It's just a dump. And it's like, it was the center of civilization. It was the seat of the biggest empire in the ancient world, and the Tigris and the Euphrates and all this stuff. And you go there and you're like, something went really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Every man, when I was there, smoked Marlboros and had a porn star mustache. Every single man. It was like a uniform. It was crazy. They all had the little porn star stash. And I remember being in an elevator in some building where the lights were out in the elevator, and there were like 8 people in the elevator, and every single one of them was smoking a cigarette as the elevator descended. And you could just see like the cherries burning.
Oh my God. Did anything sketchy happen there while you were there?
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
Big time. To me? Well, a lot of sketchy things happen to the country, but a lot of,
personal experiences.
Oh, yeah.
What, can you tell us one?
Well, I wrote about it at length. I was staying in a house with these security contractors outside the green zone in downtown Baghdad, sort of nice neighborhood. And I was having a cigarette and operating a satellite phone. I don't even know if they still exist, but you had to use them outside so they could point at the sky to the satellite. It's kind of primitive technology, but this was 2003. And I called my wife in Washington, and we had 4 kids. And I'll never forget it. She was driving the dog to the vet because the dog had like impacted glands. I don't know if you have dogs, but dogs have something called glands. I've never been interested enough to find out more about them, but they're repulsive and like liquid comes out of them and they get, quote, impacted. So anyway, my wife's dealing with this and she's like, I'm going to the vet. All of a sudden I hear this gunfire. And I'm like, I'm standing there smoking a cigarette, talking around the sat phone on this flat roof. And all of a sudden I realized someone's shooting at the building I'm in, at the house I'm in. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. So I did not expect that because I just never expect anything bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a fighting going on, but it's not going to like affect me.
Yeah.
I work for CNN, like back off. And so I jumped out. I was like, I'll call you back. And these people start shooting at our house. And the guys with us start shooting back. It was insane.
Holy shit.
What'd you do? You just run into the house and hide, or?
No, I went down. I was staying in a room. It wasn't that big a house. I was staying in a room with a buddy of mine called Kelly McCann, who's still a friend of mine, former Marine officer, great guy. He was dead asleep. And I was like, dude, and the house was filled with cordite, the smoke from guns. And I was like completely freaked out. Like I was completely freaked out.
Well, yeah.
But I was trying not to be a pussy. I was like trying to be like, hey, Kelly, bam, 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 bam. He's like, oh, dude. He lights a cigarette. He's like, all right. He's like trying to wake up. We put on our vests. We had guns. And
did you fire or no?
I didn't. And I was glad not. I actually hunt a lot.
Yeah.
And have had guns my whole life, but I have a lot of guns. But I have zero interest in shooting at somebody, and particularly if you can't see them.
Yeah.
It was dark. It was like midnight.
Oh.
So this like firefight ensues. Bam, 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 people firing out the window. All of a sudden, they go away. Like half an hour later, one of the guys who I had dinner with last week here, which is so weird, such a wonderful person, called Bill Frost, who's now chapter president of the Oceanside Hells Angels in California. But at the time, he was a former Marine Force Recon enlisted guy. Anyway, he goes, they're coming inside the house. I'll never forget that. Oh! Anyway, it was very, very high drama. Very high drama. More drama than I want in my life. And but anyway, the bottom line is when it finally ended and they went away, and I mean, there must have been 1,000 7.62 by 39, the AK-47 round was pretty sporty round, right? I mean, it'll go a mile, it'll go through walls. There must have been 1,000 rounds expended in that time that this took place. And my buddy is like, if you fire an AK-47 at some crappy house, it'll go right through the wall and like kill someone.
I'm just trying to picture like how you were actually in this situation. Like
well,
if you were like
in this situation, I was there doing I worked for
That's
CNN.
fucking insane.
And I took time off from my job hosting a show called Crossfire to do a story for Esquire magazine on what was happening in Iraq. And a guy I knew and really liked had been killed in Baghdad during the invasion in March. And I wanted to go see where he died. And I wanted to see what was happening. So I went to write this piece, write a magazine piece for Esquire, which was then a real magazine. Now it's this kind of weird, self-hating.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a man.
Yeah. In this moment, were you just thinking like, why the fuck do I do this?
Well, I wasn't planning on doing anything really. I just I thought because the U.S. military had invaded in March and secured the country. That was the mind blower for me. And that changed my view of the world forever from then until 20 years later, this day. The U.S. government's like, we have it under control. And I'm an American and I'm like 34 at the time. I've lived in this country my whole life. And I'm like, the U.S. government's in charge. Like they're in control. The U.S. military's there. Like it's cool. You know, it's going to be like downtown Annapolis, Maryland at this point. The U.S. military's there, dude.
Yeah. I'm glad you weren't with any Canadians.
I never saw any Canadians there.
In the house, that probably would have been bad, though.
They probably would have left quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, no bullshit. My impression is, I remember this at the time, Canadians are pretty tough.
Yeah.
They had...
Okay, you're switching up right now. You're switching up right now.
No.
You're completely switching up. I'm just...
No. I'm just saying, like, I think there are men in Canada. I think they're in hiding.